When I was a child, back in the late 60s and early 70s, they had a lot of different ways that people could get products and save money. My mother used to collect S&H green stamps. And you know, when you go to the store, they would give you so many stamps. And you put them in the book. And then after you get so many books, you can go and get all type of things. You know, toys for your children, appliances for the house. And another thing they had is that when you used to buy sodas, or what we call pop in Chicago, you would get a nickel back for each bottle when you returned a bottle. So as children, you know, we used to go and walk around and pick up pop bottles outside and take them to the store and buy candy. Now, my mother, used to drink a lot of soda, so we always had a lot of bottles to be returned to the store. And I would go in the basement of the house and get the bottles and take them to the store to collect the money. So one day I go to the store, and when you walk in the store like this, you go to the far back corner to your left, and back there where they sold the meat at, it would be the stock room. And right outside the stock room, there'd be a lot of pop bottles out there, soda bottles, that people had returned. Some of them in 24 cases of 24, some of them in the cases of 8, because they used to be 8-packs. So I think I had like 3 cases. I had like 3 8-packs. You know, so I had like 24 bottles. And I'm going to get a nickel for each one. So I go and I sit the bottles on the floor, and nobody's back there. So I look in the little stock room in the door, and I holler back there, "Hey, is anybody back there?" And this guy comes out, and I said, I wanted to return these bottles. So I sat them on the floor, so there was some other bottles down there, like another 4 8-packs. So the guy looked down there and he said, "Are all these yours?" And I said, "Yeah." So he gave me more money than I was supposed to get, because I was supposed to get like 40 cents times 3. So I was supposed to get like, you know, $1.20. But I ended up getting like, you know, $2.40. So after that, every time I would go and take bottles to the store, I would take bottles that people had already returned that was sitting right there, and I would put them all next to my bottle. I started doing more and more and more. I was getting like $5. So every time the guy come out, I'd have my bottle sitting there with a whole bunch of bottles that I just slide from this side right over by my bottle, and he would give me the money. And you know, one thing about it, when you find a good thing, you'll wear it out. So I kept doing it. And one day I went in there and I realized they had got hip to me, so they had marked the bottles. So when I went and slid those bottles next to my bottles, he came out, he said, "These are yours?" I said, "Yeah." He looked at them and he seen the marks. And I seen him, he looked up to say something to me, and I ran out the store. Zoom! From the back through the front, out the store I went. So eventually I go back to the store, maybe a couple months, and I turn some bottles in, and I guess he give me like a little piece of paper that says $1.20 or $1.40. And I thought to myself on the way home, you know, if I take everything up there, every writing utensil he might use in different colors, I could forge what he writes. So I go home, I get a pencil, I get a red pen, I get a blue pen, I get a black pen. The next day I go up to the store, I turn the bottles in. He writes on a little piece of paper like 130, you know. And I would go and change the 1 into a 9. So now it says 930. Or if it was enough room, I'd put another 1 in front of it or a 0 behind it. So it'd say 1130 or 1030. And I would do that Every other day I would go to that store. Boom, he'd give me a little thing that says 90 cents. I put a 5 in front of it. Now it's $5.90. Or I put a 10 in front of it. Now it's $10.90. And I did that so much, I must have hit him for a good $300 because I was going all the time. You know, I was like in the 6th grade, 7th grade. So I was wearing that out. Now, they already had chased me out the store once before for lying, saying all the bottles was mine, and they wasn't because they caught me by marking the bottles. So one day I go in there, and the guy, he puts the number on there, and I go and I forge the thing and add another number. And when I get up to the register and hand it to the lady, she hollers in the back like, "Bob, Joe, come here. This don't look like your writing." And guess what? Once again, zoop, I had to run out the store.